Okay, so today I want to talk about a legal medicinal poppy plant that the Native Americans and American settlers have been using for hundreds of years. It's an indigenous plant here to the Americas. It actually grows in abundance, and people have been using it for a really long time to, help them sleep, help to fight nervousness, help to fight, inflammation, mild pain, things like that. This plant is called California poppy. So like I said, this is a legal poppy plant here in the United States that does not seem to act on your opioid receptors in the same way that other poppy plants do, in this very sort of habit-forming, addictive sort of way. It does have its own sort of psychoactive and medicinal properties to it that I'm going to discuss here in today's video. And so, today I'm going to be kind of breaking down the history of it, the pharmacology of it, the effects, what other people report, and then kind of give you my experience with it and, my opinions on it. Okay, so California poppy is this really bright orange, pretty flower that grows all over North America, but it was first originally sort of indigenous to like the Oregon down to like northern Mexico sort of range. It was first used by these indigenous Native American groups, ones like Cahuilla, the Chumash, Pomo, and they used it within their cultures to kind of like, once again, help them sleep, help with inflammation, help with pain. They even gave it sometimes to like restless babies. And so once the European settlers sort of came in, they quickly caught on to its medicinal properties as well. In the 19th century, there was this group of doctors called the eclectic physicians, and they were known for their sort of emphasis on plant-based remedies. And they actually documented California poppy in some of their material and really praised it for its sort of analgesic effects, its ability to help with migraines and quote-unquote nervousness. In 1898, there was this text called the King's American's Dispensatory, and they noted California poppy as being this sort of mild, very efficacious and safe alternative to opium, actually, that seemed to lack the sort of habit-forming, addictive dangers of traditional opium. After the settlers caught on to it and sort of normalized it within their societies as well too, it became more of a global sort of commodity and more of a global phenomenon with herbalists around the world. And in 1903, it actually became California's state flower, and it still is to this day. Okay, at this point you might be wondering like what's in California poppy and why is it producing these sort of effects? So I'm going to break down the pharmacology of it for you, and I'm going to attempt to at least to put it into layman's terms so that hopefully the average bear can kind of understand. So California poppy contains several of this really wide spectrum of this bioactive, what are called isoquinoline alkaloids within it. One of them is called protopine. And this alkaloid seems to kind of modulate neurotransmitter systems, in particular GABA and opioid pathways. And then there's another alkaloid, funny enough, found in California poppy called californidine. And this alkaloid, the literature hasn't really solidified it yet, but it does seem to add to the sort of sedating analgesic properties of California poppy, and they theorize that its pathways are also via the GABA pathways, but more research needs to be done. There's a couple of these other isoquinoline alkaloids, and they're called sanguinerine and chalerythrine. That's a tough one. But anyways, these alkaloids both seem to have their kind of own unique anti-inflammatory and monoamine oxidase inhibitory activity of their own. And on top of all of this, there's these other flavonoids and different sort of minor alkaloids and compounds found within California poppy that seem to add to the sort of relaxing and anti-inflammatory effects. So it's this really, really wide spectrum of alkaloids and plant compounds coming in to produce these sort of effects. So typically where California poppy seems to fall in as a tool within people's tool belt, and this isn't a blanket statement, everyone's different, you got to find your own dosages and sort of what works for you, but what we've seen with the customers that have bought California poppy from us and have given us feedback is that it seems to be a very, very helpful sleep tool. It does seem to be efficacious for some people when it comes to like afternoon anxiety or afternoon winding down. Some people do enjoy it for that, but I've seen more people really emphasize how good of sleep they get on it. They get very restorative, dreamy sort of sleep. It also does seem to help people with different chronic pain within their body. There's some people who swear by it for that aspect. And then some people love to take it for headaches and migraines. They really like it for that as well too. And that's sort of a double-edged sword because, you know, the dose always makes the poison. And if you take too much California poppy, it can actually like give you a headache potentially. You know, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. But yes, that's what like a lot of people typically report. Me personally, I've been experimenting with it for the past week or two, actually leading up into wanting to create this video, and I wanted to kind of speak from it from an authentic place about what I think about it, because I've experimented with it before in the past, but it's been a while since I've brushed up against it, so I kind of wanted to refresh myself on it, and I think I'll probably keep some in stock at this point. I really have been enjoying it, and that's what really re-emphasized my desire to want to make this video, and some of the feedback that we've been getting from the customer base in general. But I've found that I really, really like it for sleep, like a lot of other people describe. I get very, very restful, restorative, very dreamy sleep as well too. It reminds me of Amanita a lot in that aspect, although the dreams are different and I think it's called sleep latency, the phase leading into sleep, that's different. You know, there's not as strong of a psychoactive effect with California poppy. There definitely is this nice relaxation associated with it. And, you know, I do a lot of things, like this whole matrix of things that may be leading to a state of consciousness that is relaxed and you know, feels euphoric leading into bed, other than just California poppy. But when I introduced California poppy to that same matrix, it did seem to have this really nice like effect. Interestingly enough, a few days ago, I started kind of getting sick, sinus infection, things like that, which I've, you know, do my hot bay for. But I actually decided, I was like, okay, like I'm starting to get a headache, and I was taking the California poppy more so in the afternoons or before bed. But it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was starting to get this headache, and I just kind of really felt run down and tired. And so I ended up taking some California poppy, and it really helped with my headache a lot, like knocked it out. So that was nice. That was cool. I think it definitely has a potential for pain mitigation. I'm not a doctor, don't take that as medical advice, but yeah, I wouldn't combine California poppy with things like if you're already on, say, a prescription MAOI or something like that. You're going to want to look up any sort of cross-reactivity with California poppy and any sort of other drugs and medications that you currently take. You know, consult a physician, not a doctor, just a guy on YouTube, giving you my honest opinion, trying to break down and distill down this knowledge for you. I hope that it was valuable. You know, we think California poppy is a beautiful plant. We're very grateful that we get to provide it at, you know, a good price and stuff for you guys. So if you need high quality California poppy, you should definitely check out our website, Minnesota Nice Ethnobotanicals. We're known primarily for our Amanita Muscaria, Blue Lotus products, but we also love our California poppy, and we're going to probably be developing some more products around our extract. The extract is all we have up on the website for right now, but it's some awesome extract. It's a 10-to-1 extract, and so how you can imagine that is essentially if you say you took 300 milligrams of our extract, it'd be the equivalent of taking about 3 grams of the whole flower form of California poppy. And dosage wise varies quite a bit from person to person, so start small, work your way up, but we recommend starting somewhere between, like, people's dosage seems to fall somewhere between like 200 to 500 milligrams of our 10-to-1 extract. But we've seen some people take doses, you know, 1,000 milligrams plus and be fine. And, but once again, there can be some unwanted side effects if you take too much. So start small, work your way up. Hope that you enjoyed the video. Much love. Peace out. Bye.